Now, crashability. This is a very important thing you should know before taking a bike on an adventure. So for the crashability chapter, let's focus in on Caroline's bike. This is a very good example of how well a Tenere can crash. Now, Caroline was unlucky enough, first of all, to have a big crash on a Russian road, which was very wet tarmac and no one told us. And so at about 80 miles an hour, she flung it down the road. What happened basically was the indicator lens broke, the plastic on the side of the tank got scratched and a little hole in it, as you can see. The forks got a bit twisted, as you would expect. The KTM handguards were absolutely fine. The hand grips got full of tar, so we changed all those. Quite importantly, the panniers stood up absolutely perfectly. As you can see on this one, it's actually scraped through the pannier. Wait, let's have a look. It's actually scraped through, made a hole in, gone right through the pannier. But structurally, the pannier is still absolutely fine. I suspected this was a metal pannier. It would have buckled the pannier. So that's 80 miles an hour, straight down the road. We picked it up, took all the tar off it, and back on the road. Then, on the same day, unfortunately, Caroline hit the back of a car on a very bad piece of the Vladivostok highway. The result was a very buckled front wheel. A front wheel that was so buckled, in fact, you could hardly ride the bike. Forks twisted again. And I think that was all, wasn't it, Caroline?
Yeah, that's about it.
And that was really about it. So, what we did is our mechanic on the trip straightened the wheel very well. And then we bought a new wheel rim and shipped it to the US and put that on. So that's two fairly major crashes, 22,000 miles of very bad roads through Mongolia in Russia, and the bike's all standing up very well in one piece. Russ's is still pristine, so straight to swing in, nothing to invent at all. Mine has one fairly bad dent in the rim. Ian threw his down a few mountains in Kyrgyzstan, and when Ian threw his down the mountain, the pannier came off. All that happened was the bolt that holds the panniers on bent. So he very simply took that off and straightened that. Speaking about panniers and crashability, the only thing we found with these Touratech frames, sorry, not the Touratech frames, the SW frames, is that they're all cracked. So the panniers are absolutely fine, but the frames are not as good as they should be. Can we take mine off? No. So here we can see some very fabulous, okay, Russ will take it off for us. Very fabulous Russian welding. This one's a very hard one to take off. On all the joints welded, we suspected as much before we set off that they probably weren't going to stand up to it, so they're all cracked. So we found a combination of a guy in Almaty and a guy in Russia to help weld up the frames for us. Once we welded them all back in place, you see with some strengthening, they've been absolutely perfect. Okay. In terms of crashability, highly recommend the Yamaha crash engine bars, but the actual sunk guard at the bottom, we're not convinced we needed that, but it seemed to have done a good job anyway.